Yo, what's going on, people? Welcome to the Pro Show. If you didn't know, now you know. It's your boy RC. So I'm gonna try something a little different to get this audience thing popping. So you see me turning back and forth. It's just to talk to the two different cameras. I feel special. I got two different cameras on. I got one here, one there. Tonight's show, we're gonna talk about double standards, things that's going on, or things that you found that you heard coming up that have been true true to word as you've gotten older. Um, Welcome, Mel. What's going on? Sinead, what's going on? Y'all the first in this audience of the taping of the RC Pro Show. Welcome. Thank you. Appreciate it. Um, let's talk about it. I think one of the biggest double standards is we're gonna start with, like, let's take it to the battle of the sexes. We'll start with, it's funny how uh, a title can be put on a woman for being promiscuous, but one isn't put on a man for being promiscuous other than him being a dog. And if a man is called a dog, it doesn't really hurt his feelings as much. Whereas the title put on a woman, her being a hoe or tramp or slut, thought, whatever you want to call it, whatever it may be, that has a harsher following to it. Like, there's more to it than just the title, and it can make or break someone. Actually, some folks can take it on the chin and be cool and move on about it. Other folks, mainly females, it's some of those things. It's kind of hard to live now. Where if the dude is called a hoe, it's not frowned upon as much as if a woman's called a hoe, which is a little messed up. Where my thing is, if you're not doing hoish activities and if you're an adult about the situation, then why not just call it what it is? You're being an adult about the situation. You're getting your rocks off. Why do you have to be considered or labeled a hoe because of, let's just say, your hunger or the size of your sexual appetite? So it's one of those things where I thought about it today, and I found it kind of funny. And it's a thing where, let's see here, get that, boom, boom, boom. All right. Yeah, I find it funny that it's out there that a man a man and a woman could sleep with, let's say, pick a number out of the sky. We're going to say 10. Guy sleeps with 10 chicks. It's not a problem. Female sleeps with 10 dudes. And, like, in some cases, men feel as though it's the end of the world. And in actuality, it's not. Now, the thing about it is, it's tougher for a woman to go about it than it is a man. I think a woman has to put extra into it, but it's not looked at as such as just, woman being a woman or an adult enjoying adult pleasures in life. Whereas I don't see really an issue with it. Or how about the double standard of, if a woman waits to have sex with a man, it's not really frowned upon. It's almost expected. But whereas if it's the man wants to take his time, he might get caught if oh, well, what's wrong with you? Or are you straight? Or where man's sexuality comes into question. All because he chooses to wait. It's a double standard. Just like a woman can choose to wait or have a 15-day rule, 20-day rule, 30-day rule, whatever it may be, why can't that guy have a a a, a, a rule about before he decides to sleep with a woman. Or I've heard women frown upon, they say they have a 30-day rule where a man might say, well, I have one as well, before he spends a certain amount of money on a woman. We're not saying he's not going to spend any money, but he puts a limit onto how much money he's going to spend. But I've heard women frown upon that because, oh, well, how you want to put a limit on that? It's like, well, you putting a limit on how soon you want to sleep with somebody, so what's the difference? It's another one of those double standards where it's something that's even in the workplace where some men advance simply because they're a man. They get a buddy relationship where women, especially in the corporate environment, have to work harder or sometimes even sleep their way to the top. There was a woman at my old job. I don't care to mention their name, but I'm gonna just say their colors happen to be what I just so happen to be wearing right now, and she was on the brand side of it that was probably the opposite of this color, and it was known that she slept with a few of the bosses to get her way to the top, and it's funny where you hear about those situations where a woman might have to do that just to succeed in corporate America. A little fucked up, but it is what it is. And that's it's kind of funny. Like I happen to use that word a lot. Not so much funny, haha, maybe funny, awkward. For the simple fact of, is it fair? Is it right? You know, we all know it's not, but it is what it is. It's one of those things where it's almost happens so much on a regular that it's it's hard to break the mold of judgment. Is it even possible to break the mold of judgment as far as like when I consider the battle of the sexes, where it comes down to the corporate America thing, 30-day rule, or even the numerous sexual partners? Is it fair? Is for the judgment to be placed in more on the woman than it is the man? I mean, I'm fortunate to be a man, so I can't really chime in too much on the female aspect of it. So it's a tough one. It's one of those things. So I'm here for y'all. Double standards is our topic for tonight. I was looking forward to hoping a few of you would chime in, and that feels good. Oh man, I bet it's probably because of this hour. I wonder how many of you are asleep. I know a lot of folks got to get up, go to work in the morning. It's awkward being on this second shift that ends so late and really not having an inkling of even being anywhere near tired. Maybe I'll change my show slot time because I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to hear from some of you on your thoughts on just the topic so far. I guess I can, since no one's here to rebuttal or any addition to questions that they may have about the topic or statements they may have about the topic, we're going to sit here for the next 20 minutes. And geez, what's going on, man? What it do, brother? Guess we'll switch over and also talk about the difference in what a year can make. I saw something posted that was from about a couple years ago that basically I was diagnosed with diverticulitis and found out it's a disease that infects the colon and basically the bowel system and how all that works. And it's like in a year's time, I've had, well, I say more than a year's time, but just to have to change your diet off of some of the simple stuff that you would normally eat and how it can affect you and how debilitating it can be. I went from walking upright and being able to move with no problems to something to be told something as small as a piece of a peanut could put me in the hospital for up to 4 days. And it was so serious that the doctors gave me morphine. Like, that was like the freaking grooviest trip ever. And I would, as good as I felt, I would never want to get used to that. And that change of diet thing was so serious to the point where, like, no nuts, certain spicy foods, no corn, like any food that doesn't break all the way down. That shit sucks, like, big time. I was hoping that Pennsylvania would have passed a law by now on that medicinal cannabis, and maybe I could get me a possible prescription for, the days where, that diverticulitis is acting up, and maybe that'll soothe some of the pain. Neek, what's going on? How you doing? And since you are here now, I can also bring up the other part of what I said I was going to talk about. So today, Facebook friend of mine, someone asked the most outlandish question that I thought I would ever hear, and they asked her, could they borrow her cat because they found a mouse nest behind their couch. We're going to come back to the cat thing, but we're going to address the fact that if you have a mouse nest behind your couch, you have a problem bigger than just needing a cat. Why the hell is your house in a condition that the mice feel that it's cool to set up shop to run in and out of the house? What's up, Tony? How you doing this evening? Now, we're gonna go back to the beginning of it. And how do you ask someone, can I borrow your cat for a week or two? Like it's a cup of sugar or a power tool. Like, I've never heard of that. Like, that is some bold shit to ask somebody. Like, can I borrow your cat? Like, to see it and to see the dialogue that took place over that was, I think that was just as funny as them asking to borrow the cat themselves. Like, how do you borrow a person? That one hurt my brain a little bit. It really did. And I'm still laughing at it myself. Like, I know you dying. Like, I know you probably go back and look through the that conversation. Like, that's probably going to be funny for a long time. The other side of that is, this is a person's family member through kids, and I like how they tried to ask about the kids and then bring it to the fact that they just wanted to borrow something. Oh, how the kids? By the way, can I borrow your cat? Like, that doesn't even, like, they probably float out of their mouth, no problem. They probably sat there and thought about it, like, damn, I need to borrow this cat. Who do I know got a cat? Oh, that's right, so and so got a cat. Yo, what's up, girl? How you doing? How the kids doing? I need a favor. You think I could borrow y'all's cat? Look, like, yo, that sounds straight like Felicia out of Friday. Like, I'm gonna borrow your cat. Wow. I'm gonna start my own rent a cat business for people that got mice. Maybe Neek, your friend, to be my one of my main customers since they had a whole mouse nest in their house. That's one of those things where because that social media exists and you can screenshot things, and it's like that's one of those things like back in the day before social media. If someone said that, you probably would have looked at them like and told them, "Yo, you're full of shit. You're lying. No one asked to borrow your cat." Yes, Nick, you should have told them the price. You should have told them it'd be $50 a day to borrow my cat because I have an emotional attachment to my cat, and that is why I cannot do it unless for less than that amount of money. And you are responsible for all meals and litter box transactions that take place on your property. That is not my concern. That's just funny. Like today was an interesting day for just some of the weirdest stuff that happened at work today. Had a young lady and some short little gay dude that was with her, like walked up to the rental car counter. Hey, if you don't have a cat anymore, you still should have charged them a price just to see what they would say. But a lady comes in and her approach was, "Am I on the do not rent list?" Ladies and gentlemen, for those of you that are not familiar with the rental car procedures, if you have to ask, are you on the do not rent list? Chances are you've done some fucked up things to a rental car. Why are some of you so trifling to a rental car? It's it's not your car indefinitely. It's your car for the amount of days that you ask for it. Some people act like they don't want to bring the car back. Understand if it's a nice car and you want to extend the rental, hey, pay to extend the rental. Don't try to hold the car hostage and then get mad when you get stopped on the street and they say, "Oh, that rental car company tripping," or "I was going to bring the car back." That would be the same if you let somebody borrow your actual car that you use and then they don't come back with it at the time they said they would, and they only say, "Oh, I need to borrow your car for I got to run to the store. I should only be a couple of hours," and then they don't show up with your car till a day later or 2 days later. You're gonna be a little hot. So understand that's where that comes from. But to hear the conversation that took place was kind of funny, and to walk into a room and notice that just know what's going on just by the simple conversation, and to hear the insane stuff about how people treat a public place like their own home. And the conversation basically led to this young woman's BO. I don't know if it was her armpits. I don't know if it was what was going on between her legs, but I'm guessing because little Spanish young lady that worked at the other rental car company, she said, and based off of what she said, I just knew what she was talking about. She said, "This is Pochanga probably smelled bad because anytime somebody walks in a room and they ask what's that funny smell, and everyone can look to a person because they were in there with their legs wide open. Hey, what's going on, Kristen? How you doing?" And just that alone, and I found it funny because I knew what she was talking about, and I learned me a new Spanish word for the day. And I mean, it sounds like something that you would hear when you walk into the pop store. Like, mommy, your pachinga. Oh, the smell. It is so bad. I can do nothing. I no touch. I do not want to do anything with it. You have to go. You got to go. I'm sorry, mommy. You got to go. The pachinga. It is bad. It is dead. There's no help for you. But that was crazy. Wow. Well, I see what type of format I'm gonna have to do. I'm gonna have to set up a double format. I'm happy that those of you that showed up did show up. Janice, thank you. Kristen, thank you. Neat, thank you. Who else? Let's see. Tony, thank you. G's, appreciate it. Mel, Nay, appreciate all y'all. Thank you for showing up for episode 3, episode 1 live. And I think what I'm gonna have to do until I can acquire a bigger following, maybe I'll choose a different slot time. Maybe a little earlier if it was worth it, or if I could finagle it. Maybe do a lunchtime show to catch all the folks at work that are on Facebook during their lunch break or while they're supposed to be at their desk. That seems to be, well, it looks like that's going to be it for the night. I was looking forward to possibly getting a bigger audience. I think I'm going to have to work on my advertising along with my slot time. But like I said, I appreciate those of you that showed up. I appreciate my one viewer on Ustream. Thank you for showing up. And until next time, I will holler at you. If you didn't know, now you know. It's your boy RC. This was the Pro Show. I holler at y'all. Tasha, you here just to see the end of the show? I'm calling it deuces. I holler at y'all.